Hey guys, how's everything going? This is Jaser. In one of previous videos, we've taken a look at how hydration works for the basic scenario. So, for as a quick recap, it's basically we have two cursors. One is on the fiber tree, one is on the existing DOM tree, and while we walk around the fiber tree, we synchronize the cursor in the DOM tree and compare if they match or not. If matched, then we just use it and update the state node. Where is this? It's very important one is state node. Yeah, for each fiber which needs a backing DOM node, there's state node reference pointing to the DOM node so that they can be operated on. Yeah, that's basically how hydration works. We left out the suspense one because it's slightly a bit more complex. Let's take a look at it today. That's for basic hydration. We need to recall how suspense works as well. I've already put it into another post. I think it's a year ago. Yeah, please take a look. It's pretty interesting. So basically, when we have a suspense, it acts like a try-catch, like the error boundary. It's kind of special error boundary which process the variable, not an error object. So this is the fiber tree. The red line is the path while we are walking around it during the reconciling or the initial mount, for all kinds of traversal. So when we were starting from this root or any node, go down to suspense, you just go down to its children. The thing is that when we when suspense is doing rendering, it has this prob fallback, which is here, and its children. Children is actually here, so it wraps up all its children under a off screen. The off screen is to help lower the priority of rendering its children. Yeah. So I've also have a episode about off screen. You can search on jason.dev. Anyway, when we are walking around, we go suspense. So it's the sibling. The fallback is set as often sibling, and the off screen is its child. When we are doing reconciling, we go to suspense. Obviously, for the traversal algorithm, we go to its child and then go to its child and go to its child. There's no child, so we go to sibling. Now, if there's an error thrown, we will unwind the work. So, which basically means that we would undo the work, right? Because error happens. So it goes up to its return and then return, and it found the closest suspense is here. So it go here, and then it sets up a flag called should capture, and then should capture will be set to did capture later, and did capture is a flag, so to tell the suspense which route it should go. So if in the initial pass, the did capture is not set, so it goes child. But now its error thrown is should capture, and then it's set to did capture. It means that suspense say, okay, you should go to the fallback branch. So the suspense is render again. You can see that there are two enters, right? One enter, and then here is a second enter, go down to fallback. And then fallback is render, there's no error. It will go to suspense, complete is fallback, and then complete suspense and complete child. So you can see this is like a try catch, right? Try, and then catch. This is the event error bubbling. Catch here, go to fallback, and then try this branch error, and then try this branch. And done. This is how suspense works. So there's a thing. If we have this component tree on the server side, when we are doing the rendering, what's it gonna be? Like say, if it is intrinsic HTML tags, we just output the HTML string, right? But if it's suspense doesn't have anything related intrinsic, right? How would we encode that? The code is not easy. Is not complex. we can easily found the code here, which the React uses to encode the suspense, which is actually, it uses the comment node. I think, I'm not sure whether it's able to just use the suspense. Like we support HTML custom elements, right? But maybe using comment nodes here is easier to avoid interrupting, having side effects upon the CSS styling issues, right? So here are the you can see start completed suspense boundary. It uses $sign to mark it's a suspense, and this question mark meaning pending suspense. This is for future progressive hydration through streaming. We will cover in the next episode. It's already on Manchester.dev. Please take a look. And this one is here is start client rendered suspense boundary. Client rendered suspense boundary. This is interesting. It actually means that this boundary is suspended. It's $sign means error actually, because this is the end. So if you take a look at we can easily try with these API called render to string. So button. So here this is suspended button. We have suspense. This button obviously it throws a variable, and fallback is this. Obviously when we render it, it should render this p tag, right? Okay, yeah. No. Oh, these. Wait a minute. Oh, sorry. Yeah. It's not suspended button. It's just a button. So it is not suspending. It is not suspending, so we are rendering this button as usual. So this one, wrapped with the suspend, it's not suspending, so it's only $sign. But if we use suspended button, it will add this $sign, mark it as this suspended. Cool. So now is this question: how we can reconstruct the fiber tree out from this DOM node, right? DOM node. It's actually pretty simple. While we're doing the usual hydration, we compare the nodes, right? If we can treat this node as suspense, then it should be fine. Yeah, let's take a look at the code. For the update, for suspense, either for initial or update, it's always update suspense command, suspense component, because there's no difference in initial or not. It always tries to re-render the child, and if there's some error variable thrown, it will go to the fallback branch. Okay, so if we take a look at the code, there's this one. If this initial amount, there's actually this part of code, which is obviously related to hydration, which is that is get is hydrating. This is global flag, and if this show fallback, we do something. Here it is a try to claim next hydratable suspense instance. This name is pretty long, but it literally means that okay, we already have a suspense instance, which is the DOM node. Next hydratable suspense means the next cursor. We've already seen that for hydration we kept the cursor in the real DOM tree, so we can synchronize the cursor to compare. Try to claim. Claiming is just to reuse it. Not reuse. Yeah, it should be reuse. Yeah. Try means that we might not be successful. This one is checked if it's successful or not. We checked if this the memoir state is set. If it is not set, is blah blah blah. We will try to mount the dehydrated. Dehydrated means that the DOM node here, this one, we are mount to, yeah, dehydrated suspense component. Cool. Let's take a look at the try. The try is actually inside of it. It's this try hydrated suspense here. Next instance is the DOM node. There's a comparing method called canhydrate. If you take a look at canhydrate, it just said this: if it is comment node, then it's. If it is not comment node, then no. If it is, then it could. So this is basically to check if it is a comment node. If it is comment node, then we can actually try to reuse the DOM. And then if we can, we will create this suspend state. We will set this suspend state to the fiber, and then we will cover this part later. And then yeah, that's it. Just So basically, if this is a common node, we can try to reuse. Then we have this suspense state. If it is dehydrate, let's see, dehydrated. Yes, it is dehydrated. Dehydrated is the DOM actually. Yeah, and then we will try to mount it because this is for hydration. It's always is for the initial mount. After that, it's just a normal reconciling stuff. So in the mount, let's take a look. In the mount is very interesting. Is that you can see that first it returns null. It means that during the reconciling, it does not go down. If we recall how React traverse fiber tree, we always I've talked to this too much. I suggest you just to look at the this blog post. So basically, the return value for a begin work is the next thing we want to work on. So if this returns null, it means that there's no child to work on. So we will complete and go to the sibling. Let's say here. So for this one, there's no child, so it returns null, and then we will complete it. So each fiber it will be worked on and then be completed on. Worked on, recursively go to this child, no child, complete, and then go to the sibling. No child, no sibling, it will go to its parent. Yeah, here, mount, yeah. So it's no more draining down the children. It will complete the work, but it sets the length. We've already covered in how the length works, right? Length in React, and also covered in this off-screen component that if you set length to a non-empty one during the rendering, it means that there will be more work to be done. So this is a way of scheduling work, because in the commit phase, after the commit phase, it will check again for if there's a more work to do. We can easily schedule work through length. If it is not during the rendering, there's no committing check. So you need to call the schedule API to schedule the work. So this is kind of like a shortcut. So here, if the dollar sign is with as exclamation mark, so it means that it's rendering instant fallback. We would use the default hydration lane. Otherwise, we'll use the off-screen lane. I don't know which one is higher. It doesn't matter here. It's just a way that showing different priority. I think for this one, off-screen lane is more is lower because if you're already seeing the contents, it doesn't matter that if we can wait a little bit longer. Length is just a priority indicator. So this is how mount works. Remember, it doesn't reconcile deeper. It just stops here, and this means that schedule more work. This means that the hydration for the suspense is actually a two-pass thing. We need to go it twice. The first one stops here, and then check it again. Yeah, here is suspense instant fallback. You check if it's dollar sign or not. Yeah. Okay, second pass. In the second pass, the current is not null anymore because we already set it, right? After committing, it's already done. So hydration, literally, it's done in the first pass. And this one is update pass, actually. It's not hydration technically, but we'll see. Okay, so for the second pass, it's update, pre-suspense state, memo state, we've already set it, so it's not empty. We will go to here, and dehydrate is still there. So we'll update dehydrate suspense component, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, here, it's important that I like to point out that it looks like we're hydrating, but actually it's not, because this hydrating flag is set to false. Already in the reset hydration, this will be called each time begin work is called on the root. So it's not hydrating actually for now. You see that it's just the update. So there's no get is hydrating anything. I just update the hydrated suspense component. Blah blah blah. Update the hydrated suspense component. It's quite big. Let's pick some important one. First one is here. If suspense fall is rendering fallback, it will try to say, okay, here retry suspense component without hydrating. all of this is in this did suspend, because you see for the initial render, we don't render the children, right? We didn't render the children. The did suspend is nothing, is empty. So we go to this branch. It's handling some errors. We'll skip it for now. Here, retry suspend command without hydrating. Let's see what's inside. Okay, this one we will cover it later in this episode because it's quite interesting. So in this retry suspend component without hydrating is that it will discard the DOM, right? As you see, it's calling the mount suspend primary children directly and return it. This is actually the same as what we have talked about in previous episode. It's about 1 year ago about how suspense work. This actually, you see, mount suspense for back children, primary children here. Yeah, just mount it, suspend child off screen and the child. It's the same function, mount suspense primary children. So you see that the fallback DOM we get from serialized component is not actually used. It would just discard it and create a new one because this function. Yeah, cool. So this is it. So this is basically how we do hydration for the suspense. A brief summary here is that we just treat this one as the this comment node as the how should I put it, synthetic HTML element for the suspense and do the hydration. Try to reuse it, and then the hydration for suspense is actually in 2 paths. After the first path, the hydration literally is done. Actually, there's a re-enter something. Where's the re-enter? And then not covered in this one. We will cover soon in a demo picture. So this is, so far we've covered how it works for the fallback, which means that if this suspend in the server side, and then how we can reconcile in the client side. Okay, there are 4 demos, different patterns, and we will dive into details. First one is server rendering fallback, client rendering fallback. So you can see here is the server fallback. We use the dollar sign, meaning these suspends are suspended. And also in the client side, we throw the promise. So client side is using fallback as well. If you take a look at the video, we will get something very interesting. Is that you can see, even though the fallback is literally the same, we still, you see, we just remove these 3, including this p tag, and recreate it. It's kind of counterintuitive, right? Because before I thought that we'll try to reuse the fallback as well because it's the same, but actually it's not. Open the demo and open the console. You will see all the annotations I've added to help you understand how things works under the hood. We will take the full look at the full logs for this demo. This part means that the basic reconciling. You can see start work on the root and then house the root. This is how we traverse the fiber tree until we go to the suspense. Update suspense component. This is initial mount. This is also hydration. We'll try to reuse the DOM, which is this one, and then we mount the hydration component. As we said during the first pass, we don't go down to the children. We will schedule re-render, set the name to default hydration lane, and the return is nulls, making we not go deeper. I will complete this suspense and go to this children. I'll go to the sibling, which is the span. Span is just the normal span. We reconcile and complete, and then we commit root, right? We commit. Now here is interesting because, as I said, in the commit we'll make sure there's no more work to do, because during the render there's always possibility that we schedule more work through the lanes or through the set the state, stuff like that. It will check if there's more work to do, and then obviously there is more work to do because the lanes is not empty. We've already set it in this phase, and then we will work it again. So we'll start from root again. App and b tag, blah blah blah. We go to suspense again. We go to suspense again, and in this time we will go deeper, right? We'll go to the children. So previously there's match dehydrated suspense state. It didn't suspend because we haven't started rendering yet. The marker is fallback, so we will retry the suspense without hydrating. We will render the children, and then we go to the children, which is off screen, and button. We will run button, and then a promise is thrown, which is in our code actually. Here we throw this promise, so it's suspended. We will unwind work. Where is it? Throw a promise. Where is the promise? Yeah, unwind work, and go to suspense state. We found the should capture, so we set the did capture and render this suspense again. And now we don't go to the button branch yet no more. We go to the fallback branch. So we go to the fallback branch here. Begin work on suspense. Suspended. It's suspended. We will return the fallback fragment. Go to fallback. Blah blah blah. Go to the p tag. Begin work and done. And complete. Here, mount suspense fallback after hydration. We try without hydrating. It means that it will just not use the fallback existing DOM. So we mount fallback, and then yeah, we just normally commit again. Here it's a bit interesting. It says clear suspense boundary. Existing DOM will be totally removed. Remove this marker. Remove this p tag. Remove the ending tag. And then insert this p tag. Insertion is done by the effect. Okay, so how these three comes around? Interesting. Remember that DOM elimination is based on the flags. So for this p tag, we get it from the reconciling. So there's a flag meaning this is insertion. But for these three, we already see that there's thing called trihydrate suspense. Here you can see that here for the fiber we actually put the instance under a fragment called dehydrated fragment and put it under the child. So here's a diagram showing in that. So during the first pass, we have this suspense, this child is dehydrated fragment, and this is the DOM node. Put it at a state node, and then in the second pass, we will because the dehydrated fragment is different from off screen, we will remove it. We get this off screen, and this will be marked as deletions under the suspense. And so during the complete, we will go to the deletions for this suspense and we'll delete the dehydrated fragment, which will recursively, I think, delete all the DOM nodes under the state node. From the comments, we can see that it is just for the easy deletion. Where is it? Trihydrate. Yeah. Store the dehydrated fragment as a child fiber. This simplifies the code for get-host-sibling deleting nodes, since it doesn't have to consider all suspense boundary and check if they are dehydrated ones or not. Yeah, I think this is for easier deletion. It's not that important. Remember this diagram. Yeah, here, if it is dehydrated fragment, we will clear the suspense boundary. You might wonder, I had this question say, why, because the fallbacks are the same, why don't we just reuse it? That's the purpose of hydration, right? Asked this question to Dan. He said something, I think. Read one reply. It says there was some, he tried once, there was a performance regression, so not sure why. Okay, that's a very good answer. But anyway, this is how React works for now. So for fallback, server fallback, client contents, we need to switch the fallback to contents, right? you can take a look at the behavior. Is that this is the fallback? It will be removed and replaced with the real content, which is the button. This is more or less the same as previous pattern. Unless except one is that there's no throw in the button, so there's no unwind this all this stuff. It will just go straight down to the button, and again it will be mount the children, so the fallback will be removed as well, and the button will be inserted. So we will skip for now. The third pattern is the server-side rendering contents, client render fallback. Let's just take a look at the behavior first. You can see that this is the contents. See, this is the contents. It does not change. At first, I thought that the client-side fallback will be replacing the contents, but actually, it is not. Why? Because in the update dehydrated suspense component, there is a if branch after the is fallback, which is here, I think. Retry update dehydrated suspense component. Yeah, here. If it is fallback, we do this, and then we go to is. Yeah, here, if suspense state, and then it will do nothing. It will return null. Remember, return null means that we do nothing. Go to down to the children. The memoir state exists in the first pass. So we go to here, and it is not a fallback. It's contents. So we go to here, and it returns null. We don't remove them. We don't render the fallback. It's because it says, I think the reason it said is, if we render the fallback, and later we will flip back the fallback to contents again, right? So we'll see content, fallback, content in these three phases. But rather we want it to be just wanted to see the contents to contents, right? Yeah, we don't want this fallback to in the middle, and it's pretty. I think it's pretty reasonable. Because for most of the time, fallback is just to cost a short amount of time. If we've already seen the contents, why bother show the fallback it again? Well, it's some opinionated approach, but yeah. You might wonder, why don't we go to here for the first two patterns? Is that memoir state is already cleared during retry suspense component without hydrating. Cool. The last pattern, contents. Yeah, this is should be pretty obvious that it is contents, and will be. You can see that it will be replaced with the contents are reused. In the updated dehydrated suspense contents, we winter hydration again. It says hydration. You see, re-enter hydration sustain. So I'm sorry, it's not replaced. It's reused. The button is reused directly. Yeah. There's nothing special. We mount suspense primary children again, but this time we have this flag, right? We have this hydration state, so rather than removed, we will hydrating. Yeah, you see, there's this comments here. Cool. This is summary. The key takeaway is that React serialized the suspense with this comment node. This $sign meaning non-suspended suspense. This exclamation mark means the suspense is suspended. And also, hydration for suspense is two-pass process. The first pass, it doesn't go down to the children. It will stop there. So technically, hydration for the second pass, it's not hydration. The hydration for second pass only happens for the contents. If the contents, server renders contents, and client-side render contents, it will go to hydration. It can reuse. During hydration, if the existing time is fallback, it will discard it no matter what. No matter if render fallback or contents on client side, it's just a discard and a re or recreate it. If the existing time is contents but client side is suspends, We want to switch the contents directly without fallback, so fallback won't be displayed at all. Interesting. This is pretty tricky. If pre-existing DOM is content and also is the client side is the DOM, the hydration continues after this re-enter. So yeah, remember these 3 parts, and you are good to go. You are good to go. What hydration means for the suspense. The one thing is the $sign with the exclamation mark. We've briefly touched it. It says client side. It's pending suspense. This is ready to streaming. We'll talk about it in the next episode, which is progressive hydration, which is pretty interesting, but pretty straightforward, I would say. Cool. See you next time. Bye.